Hi there everyone, GuardianE here with another live reaction and first impression video for Fire Emblem Heroes. Tonight we're getting the reveal of the next set of new heroes to drop into the game in just a couple of days. So I've got the trailer pulled up here, we're going to watch it together raw for the first time, then we'll take another closer look at the characters that were revealed to evaluate the banner as a whole to see if this is something that's worth summoning on. Alright, so let's get started. Wait for that HUD to leave, and there we go. Okay. So, new heroes join the battle, and this is Sacred... Okay, alright, Wall of Silence to start things off. Gilliam, this is going to be a Sacred Stones banner, an armored Lancer with a save skill that they're demonstrating there. Freljin Lance, Sturdy Stance, Vengeful Fighter 4, okay. Alright. Is that the same voice actor as Hector? It sounds a lot like him. Okay, Graceful Rider. And so this is going to be Syrene. Nice. Beautiful. Always love the Pegasus Knights. Personally, I'm a big fan. Flying Sword Unit. Let's see. Freljin Blade. Catch 4. Speed Defense Catch 4.
Steal yourself.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good skill to have. And, oh, we got more Pegasus Knights. Dutiful Rider. And this is going to be Vanessa. So, Flying Lancer. Pretty stacked pool there. Up front Lance plus Attack Res Catch 3. Okay. And we are going to be getting a Rearmed Hero. Okay. Alright. So it was either rearmed or ascended. We're getting rearmed this go around. Oh, it's Tana! Soaring Princess. Okay.
Archers make short work of...
She looks great. I really like Tana, so that's fantastic. She is going to be a flying bow unit. Comes with Deadeye, attack speed unity. It comes with her own B-slot skill, Soaring Wings. Guidance 4. Interesting that they showed her tanking an archer shot there. So new story chapter, Seeing the Present. It is in fact going to be a Sacred Stones banner. And I don't think I see anything of particular significance revealed in that map. Vanessa is of course going to be the 4-star focus unit of the banner. And yeah, I just realized that there is in fact going to be uneven color distribution there. So naturally, showing Innes here, stealing from his sister. So yeah, of course, Tana being a rearmed hero does mean that she is going to be able to pass on her skills to an ally, while also staying within your box, so barracks. So that's always nice. And then of course there's the Spark. This is a new hero banner that is not exclusive to the FEH Pass. Everybody gets a shot at the Spark if they do want to invoke it. So starting on the 17th of March and presumably going for an entire month or so, we've got new heroes and Rearmed Tana. Going to have 2 blues on the banner, one of them of course being the 4-star focus unit of it, which is Vanessa. And then Tana is going to be our new Rearmed Hero. I do like me some Tana, I do. And she looks great here. Glad to see her get another version in the game. I think well-deserved as a Rearmed Hero. As far as the rest of the banner is concerned, a little bit more lukewarm just because I don't have a ton of exposure to Sacred Stones. Although it does seem to be heavily flyer-based, which I am a big fan of. So let's go ahead and rewind, take a closer look at these characters, see what they're all about. So first up to bat, we've got Gilliam as a Lance Armor unit, looking imposing, composed, stalwart, fist raised. He's got those fierce eyebrows. his face is in a scowl, some serious facial hair. And I like the kind of the utilitarian design of his armor. It's bulky. It looks well worn. I like that it's kind of dinged up. It's seen battle, has some of that fade, but it still has some of the shine from the golden elements to it as well. Works really well, and he's a big bulky guy. Works obviously to fit that niche. The art's nice. Gilliam is going to have Freljin Lance at 16 might, killer slaying effect, and at start of turn grants neutralizes effective against flying bonuses to flying allies within 2 spaces of unit for 1 turn. That's really interesting utility that he would bring to his allies. Obviously, that works really well with this entire banner, the rest of the units being flying allies. That's going to mean that he can support them in a way of providing them the ability to tank bows. And if foe initiates combat, or if foe's HP is greater than or equal to 75% at the start of combat, grants attack plus 6 to unit, inflicts attack minus 6 on foe, inflicts penalty on foe's attack and defense equal to 20% of unit's defense at start of combat, and reduces damage from foe's first attack by 40% during combat. Okay, that's a solid package there. All stuff geared towards increasing his damage output while reducing the enemy's damage output, which makes a lot of sense. Him being an armor unit is going to have those tanky defenses. But yeah, they're going to have just a straight fixed stat boost and debuff on the enemy. Get an actual percent debuff penalty on the enemy as well. And then also getting a damage reduction on the first attack. All that stuff is going to really add into his survivability. Bonfire for the special, Sturdy Stance 3 for the A slot, Vengeful Fighter 4 for the B slot. So this is going to be a new class, or a new tier of Vengeful Fighter. If unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25% and foe initiates combat, inflicts attack minus 4 on foe during combat, unit makes a guaranteed follow-up attack, foe cannot make a follow-up attack, and grants special cooldown charge plus 1 to unit during combat. Only highest value applied does not stack. So that's obviously a very stacked, very good B slot skill that's going to work in tandem with Sturdy Stance 3 for the A slot, because Sturdy Stance is going to inflict special cooldown charge minus 1 on the foe. He's going to get special cooldown charge plus 1 to himself. So there's that seesaw where the enemy isn't going to be able to gain special. He's going to get extra special. He's got that bonfire, and he's going to be super, super tanky. That bonfire is going to hurt when it procs. And he's going to be, an enemy phaser, as armors typically tend to be. Of course, especially with the attack, defense, near save 3 that he has for the C slot. So, all that being said and all that coming together, he's going to be a very, very solid wall. He's going to have all of the things that he would want as that solid wall. Boosted damage, killer slaying effect for quick special procs, doing heavy damage, damage reduction on the first hit, has a debuff on the enemy's attack that stacks both with Fralian Lance and Vengeful Fighter 4, and then as well as getting actually a percentage penalty to a foe's attack and defense at the start of combat as well, just and that's going to scale with his defense stat, which is obviously going to be his one of his primary stats. So really he checks all the boxes at being a very, very competent, very solid armor unit. And then his unique element, I would say, is the fact that he grants that buff to his flying allies within 2 spaces for 1 turn that neutralizes effective against flying bonuses. That's really, I think, what sets him apart. That's what specializes him, and he's going to be really, really useful for teams that are comprised primarily of flying units. Now, that being said, that does kind of specialize him into a particular niche, but he's still going to get the job done. I mean, he's still, just as a base tank, he gets the job done. And next up, we've got Syrene as a flying sword unit. Love the vibrant green hair and the green eyes, of course, contrasting really nicely with the otherwise sort of drab and earthy tones comprising her armor and the rest of her outfit. And the outfit itself is form-fitting and attractive, hugs at the slender waist and the wide hips. The tan headband there also gives her a lot of charm. I like that as well. So Syrene comes with Fralian Blade. It's going to be 16 might. Killer slaying effect if foe initiates combat, or if foe's HP is greater than or equal to 75% at the start of combat. Grants plus 5 to all stats. Inflicts penalty on foe's attack speed and defense by 15%, or as 15% of unit speed at start of combat. Neutralize effects that prevent units' follow-up attacks, and reduces damage from foe's first attack by 40% during combat. So not terribly dissimilar from Gilliam's Lance at face value. There's a lot of similarities there. You got the killer slaying effect. You've got that condition of HP, or if on enemy phasing, she'll get additional boosts to her stat line. And then inflicting penalties on the enemy's stat line based upon and a percentage of one of her key stats. So in this case, it's going to be speed. So it seems like she is going to be a speedy unit, which of course is going to be really great because she also neutralizes effects that prevents her follow-up attack. So if she's going to naturally outspeed her opponent, they're not going to be able to stop her from doubling, which is a great thing. And then reduces damage from foe's first attack by 40% during combat, which is especially good for her because she is going to be enemy phasing a lot, apparently. I mean, she doesn't have to enemy phase, but it does seem like it's going to be a critical part of her role. The foe's HP being equal to or above 75% also gives her all of those boosts too, so she can certainly initiate on enemies as long as they have above 75% HP or at 75% HP, which is honestly that's a pretty easy and standard condition as well. But yeah, she's going to enjoy those debuffs on the enemy, the stat boosts, all great stuff, and she's going to double unhindered. And if she does decide to enemy phase, that first hit from the enemy is going to be severely reduced, which is great. Moonbow for the special. And for her A slot, we have Speed Res Catch 4, so we finally have the Speed Res variation of the Catch 4 skill, which is great. The Catch 4 skills in general, very, very solid, and these are going to play to her strengths quite a bit, which is very nice. So it's actually going to give her additional speed and additional res. And then Pegasus Flight 4 for the B slot. So everything really centered around, focused on her speed stat and elevating her speed stat. Pegasus Flight has the additional threshold requirement of having pretty high res, too, to meet certain checks. So, or at least take advantage of the ability to inflict a debuff on the enemy. And then, of course, it is part of the final part of Pegasus Flight 4, where it can prevent the enemy's follow-up attacks as well. So, again, she seems to be centered around speed and res, having her highest stat boosts, debuffing the enemy's attack and defense and speed as well in tandem with that, so she does get and meet the conditions for all of her different skills. I am curious to what her stat line is ultimately going to be, because I'm curious if it's going to be spread pretty thin. The fact that she's got speed and res as high focus stats, and then it looks like, I don't know if attack and defense are going to suffer as a result. Attack is obviously always going to be really important with an offensive character, and then you've got a defense, where if she is going to be enemy phasing, now she doesn't have to enemy phase, it's just one potential condition, one potential way to meet the requirement for Fralien Blade, the other, of course, being the HP condition of the enemy, but it is a component to her kit. Like, speed and res are kind of the focal stats for the character, and of course her kit really lends itself to that as well, and she's got a nice package altogether coming into this to take advantage of that stat line. Now, next up, we've got Vanessa as a Flying Lancer, and she is, of course, going to be the 4-star focus unit of the banner, so she is going to go in the regular summon pool as a 4-star unit. We don't really have a shortage of Flying Lancers within that pool, so she does have some kind of stiff competition there, but she looks great. Bright eyes, warm smile. I like her hair with the cute short braid behind her. The color palette overall is very appealing, has sort of this autumn look to it with the oranges and the greens coming together. Very, very nice, and of course that very high short hemline that is signature to Pegasus Knights is always attractive and appreciated. So, of course, as mentioned, Vanessa is going to be the 4-star focus unit of the banner, so I would expect her kit to play into that. Her lance is going to be Upfront Lance Plus, which is going to be inheritable, of course, 14 might. At start of combat, if foe's HP is greater than or equal to 75%, grants attack speed plus 5 to unit and neutralizes unit's penalties to attack and speed during combat. Yeah, that's not bad. It's not amazing or anything. It's not fantastic. There are a lot of different options for inheritable lances. So I don't really know if this is going to be, making any waves. At the same time, it is like thematically appropriate, I would say, in line with what the other units on this particular banner are rocking. And it's definitely a very serviceable weapon as well. Luna for the special, attack res catch 3 for the A slot, and speed res oath 3 for the C slot. So some nice, I think, like piggybacking skills, like skills that you can inherit in anticipation of getting catch 4 or oath 4. So at least from that perspective, the skills are kind of nice, at least to get in your back pocket to use for those instances. But I don't think necessarily things that people are really going to be hunting for in a big way. The oath skills are pretty nice since it's one of the C slot skills that is able to grant a self-activated buff at the start of the turn. There aren't like a ton of those out there. And the catch skill, of course, is, again, a great gateway for attack res catch 4. Catch 3 skills, definitely a far cry in terms of usability when compared to the catch 4 skills. So that's really kind of what it comes down to. Again, she's got a decent lance, decent weapon, some okay skills to lead into better skills, and that's kind of it. And then finally, we have the Rearmed Hero Soaring Princess Tana. She is going to be a flying archer. Really extravagant bow. Really lovely design on the bow. It has this jewel with these vines stretching out from it, has these draconic elements to it with the claw at the front, as well as the ends of the bow too. You have this a feminine flair, a little cutesy charm with the pink bow and the ribbon wrapped around the top there that seems like it's Tana adding her own little personal effects to the weapon, which is really endearing. And then Tana herself looks great. Mikoro doing a great job. She has this fairy tale princess almost look appeal with the pinks and the frills and the corset all coming together, the pauldrons, the armor. I think it syncs up really, really well. And again, it has this undeniable charm with the ribbons. It sort of blends the notes of her being an imposing warrior and also being traditionally girly, feminine at the same time. Has her signature high ponytail, bright smile, delicate features, very attractive, coming together. Some interesting etching on the backside of the cloak as well, and the sides of the dress. Yeah, she looks great. She does. So Tana is going to have Arcane Nostrand as her weapon. Again, it is going to be inheritable. It's an inheritable bow. 14 might, has a killer slaying effective against flying foes, of course. If unit initiates combat or is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants +5 to all stats to unit during combat. Unit makes a guaranteed follow-up attack, reduces damage from foes' first attack during combat by 30%, grants bonus to unit's attack during combat equal to 12 minus foe's max special cooldown count value times 2, minimum 4. If foe does not have a special skill, bonus equals 4. Okay. Overall, a solid weapon, of course. Killer slaying effect, got the stat boosts, get a guaranteed follow-up attack, and then reduces damage, so get damage reduction as well. What you want is an enemy with the shortest special cooldown possible to take the most advantage of this. If they don't have a special at all, then you get a bonus of 4. And in the worst case scenario, the enemy would have something like Ether, right? And so at Ether would be a 5-turn cooldown, and then times 2 would be 10. So she'd only get +2 attack as a bonus for that effect. Actually, if you have an Ether, if you have a Blade Tome unit that is rocking Ether, they would have a 6-turn cooldown, and that would completely nullify this effect. So that's the new meta, is Blade Tome Ether units. Actually, unironically, I think I did run Blade Tome and Ether on one of like the super early Abyssal clears, way back like in year 1 or year 2 of doing Camilla Emblem clears. I'm pretty sure one of those runs I actually did use something like that. But yeah, anyway, nobody's going to run that, so obviously you don't have any threat of that. Most commonly, you're going to have anything in the 2 to 3 range, right, in terms of special cooldown charge, and in those instances, Tana is going to be enjoying anywhere from like +6, +7 attack, which is really, really great. Deadeye for the special, that's basically going to be the best archer special available. Very, very good. Doubles damage dealt, and of course disables damage reduction. Attack Speed Unity is a fantastic A-slot skill that is going to give her a base +5 to her attack and speed, and then also any debuffs that she has on her actually end up being bonuses to her instead, so that's very, very nice. And then Soaring Wings, so she has her own unique B-slot skill, enables Kanto 1, that's immediately going to be good. That's anything that just straight up just gives you Kanto is going to be solid. Unit can move to a space within 2 spaces of any ally within 2 spaces at start of combat. If unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, inflict speed defense -X on foe during combat. X is equal to 4 plus the number of spaces from start position to end position of whomever initiates combat. Okay, interesting. So this is actually going to have a clash effect built into Soaring Wings, a debuff clash effect, right? So it's going to be based on the actual movement of the unit. Then she has the Kanto, of course, and then she has the ability to warp within 2 spaces to any ally within 2 spaces. That is, and she's ranged. So that's absolutely enormous. That means she can reach like 80% of the map at any given time, depending on your team composition and how they're positioned. But it's huge. It's basically, Halloween Noe had that refined way back, and it was hilarious how much range she had way back. So Tana has that here. She can basically warp her range is extended by such a huge margin. The enemy just isn't safe anywhere. Now, interestingly enough, the Kanto won't be invoked if she does warp. So, as far as I know. So she's a ranged unit with Kanto 1. That's always going to be good. But if she warps, she's not going to be able to Kanto, of course. And then the whole clash effect as well. So either she's going to warp, she's going to have that advantage, or she's going to have the Kanto and clash effects. So either or. In any case, she's got great mobility. And then Guidance 4. Infantry and armored allies within 2 spaces can move to a space within 2 spaces of unit. Grants attack speed +3 to infantry and armored allies within 2 spaces of unit during combat. And also, if those allies' speed are greater than foe speed, neutralizes effects that prevent those allies' follow-up attacks during combat. What? That's nuts. Wow, that's really good. That's really good for team compositions where you're going to have mixed movement types. That's very, very strong. If I remember correctly, wasn't Tana the one that first introduced guidance to the game? I'm not positive about that. I could be totally wrong. In fact, I'm probably totally wrong. But I don't know. I just thought that might be very fitting that she's introducing Guidance 4. But regardless, that's huge. Not only does that increase the mobility of her allies to within 2 spaces of her to teleport there, they get an increased buff to their offensive capabilities with the attack and speed. And then furthermore, has neutralizes effects that prevent them from doubling, which is also really, really strong. That combination with Soaring Wings means that units are going to be warping all over the place. Like that's really just such a potent combination, powerful combination. I mean, she's going to hit hard, she's going to have damage reduction, she's going to have stat boosts, she's going to have negation of penalties to her attack and speed, going to have damage reduction nullification with Deadeye, she's going to have Kanto from Soaring Wings, she's going to have warping capability as well as clash effect, and she's going to grant the ability for her allies, if they're infantry or armored, to warp within 2 spaces of her, have increased bonuses to attack and speed, and double with impunity. So that entire combination of things is really, really powerful. She's kind of a Swiss Army knife of different effects here, and being a flying archer with that ability has inherent mobility options. This is just going to enhance her mobility even further, as well as her allies' mobility. So altogether, really, really great stuff. She has a rearmed bow. I'm not totally in love with sort of the convoluted calculation for the bonus attack, just because I think it's like needlessly complicated, to be perfectly honest. But it works. It's effective. In most cases, you're going to actually get a decent attack boost based upon that final effect for the Arcane Nostrand. Starting on the 17th of March, we are going to have new heroes and Rearmed Tana. I don't think it's any surprise that Tana is the prize of the banner, hands down, leagues beyond, I think, the rest of the characters that are available here, at least from a kit perspective. I think she just has so much going for her. She's just going to be very powerful. And the fact that, as a Rearmed hero, she actually is limited. So even though this is a new hero banner, she is not going to be dropping into the regular summon pool. Most likely, we're going to be seeing her on a future legendary or mythic hero banner. But at least in terms of her rarity, or how easily you're going to be able to procure her, she is going to be a little bit on the rarer side of things. And as a rearmed hero, she of course has the inherent value of being able to inherit her skills while still remaining in your barracks. At least as far as the other units are concerned, again, I think that Vanessa has some okay stuff in terms of leapfrog skills, like skills that you can use to jump into other skills. And then you've got Gilliam and Syrene. Both of those are going to be, I think, really solid units. Gilliam, in particular, I think has a very interesting effect when he's paired with other flyers. I think that's just a very unique ability. And then Syrene, I think, is just going to be very solid in terms of what she brings to the table in terms of, stacking on the speed and res, being tanky, and then also being formidable offensively as well. So yeah, Tana's the prize for sure. The rest of the banner is just okay to solid. And but they do feature some pretty decent skills, some new tier 4 skills to look forward to, some decent inheritance going on overall. Me personally, I would love to get Tana, and frankly, I would love to get all of the Pegasus Knights on this banner. Actually, Tana's not a Pegasus Knight. She's actually riding a Wyvern. I didn't notice that until like right now on the image here that she's actually a Wyvern rider. That's interesting. Okay. Well, anyway, all 3 of the flyers I would love to get. naturally, but I'm thinking that for Tana, I might just wait for her to show up on a future Legendary or Mythic Hero banner and go for her there. I will do, my free summons and probably snipe Colorless and Red on that one, but yeah, we'll just kind of leave it at that, I think. But let me know in the comments below if you're excited for these heroes, another Sacred Stones banner, a Rearmed Tana. If you are, who you're going to be going for, how deep you're going to be going in. Hopefully you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel free to leave us a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more Fire Emblem Heroes content. We thank you all so much for watching, for taking time out of your day to spend with us. We really do appreciate it. And until next time, let's protect those skies.